27 Digital Now Center. This is Beyond the Forecast with your most accurate local meteorologists.
Well, we say good morning, everybody, and it is a good morning because it finally stopped raining, and we are all thankful for that, as we certainly had the flash flooding yesterday to deal with, and it came in massive amounts, and we wanted to give you a recap of that here today, and also take a look at when our storm chances will, what our storm chances will be here for the rest of the week. So it was quite an afternoon for many that were out driving in it yesterday or just trying to cope with it as basements flooded and in some cases homes flooded, roads flooded, parking lots washed away. So we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to get into it right now as we check out the Doppler radar this morning. Certainly looks a lot better, doesn't it, than yesterday because we were inundated with rain. Now, by the way, you cannot say this was not forecasted well. We harped on the fact that yesterday would bring flash flooding to parts of the region, and we even highlighted the fact that areas south and east of Harrisburg were favored for flash flooding. So when we look at the rainfall amounts here estimated by the radar, and the radar does a pretty good job of estimating this, I would say that forecast played out just exactly like we thought it would. And we can see certain areas, too, that are highlighted here. The region as a whole, on average, got about an inch of rain, but clearly there were more spots. Franklin County, one of those areas, even western York County, and then, of course, the big bullseye here right along the Susquehanna River, just to the east of it in Lancaster County and just to the west of it in York County. So let's zoom in there because certainly this was the region that got hit the worst, and we can see it across western and northwestern Lancaster counties and eastern York County. Route 30 getting it yesterday. How about this? From Mount Joy to Columbia over to East Hempfield, the bullseye there getting almost 7 inches of rainfall. Just remarkable. And our storm reports show lots of flooding in and around York and to the northwest of Lancaster. Mountville, one of those spots where US 30 flooded between Mountville and Columbia. It was closed in both directions as crews dealt with that floodwater. A water rescue in Hallam yesterday, too, as a vehicle was stuck in floodwater. I'm going to go through and pick out a few more because you can really pick any that you want. A tree was down blocking the road at Oriole Lane in Dover. Dover got hit, of course, the other day pretty hard as well. Running water over a roadway at Pitney Road in Mountville. Mountville, one of the spots that just got inundated. How about Manheim? They got hit hard the other week. Numerous reports of water flowing over roadways in Manheim just after 4 o'clock yesterday. Pretty remarkable stuff here. Red Lion, roadway flooded, water rescue for vehicle in floodwater. And so really, you know, as we talk about this, again, the folks that try to drive through this, there really is no rhyme or reason to do that. And I mean that because ultimately you need to be smart and you cannot put yourself in that situation. Not only do I want to recap this for you, but I want to play for you what we did on Daybreak this morning. Kayla Schmidt went to Mount Joy and got a survey of some of the damage there. And we have some video now from across the region as we all dealt with this flooding in a massive way yesterday afternoon and evening. Check it out.
Our top story this morning, intense storms brought heavy rain to the area yesterday. There's now a formal disaster declaration in one Lancaster County community. Kayla Schmidt is live in Mount Joy Borough with the details. Good morning, Kayla.
Yes, good morning to you, Allie. Now, Borough Council enacting that declaration around 5 p.m. Monday due to that severe flash flooding incident. And we are still seeing that flooding this morning as the sun has begun to rise. Now, as you can see, this entire baseball field behind the VFW in Mount Joy Borough is just completely flooded. You can see that brown, mucky, muddy water, something you do not want to be standing near, something you do not want to be standing in this morning. But moving to the response yesterday, the fire department of Mount Joy says intense rain dropped around 7 inches in less than 5 hours. And it's pretty clear by that shot we just showed you that stormwater is still there this morning. Now, it just overwhelmed stormwater infrastructure and flooded portions of the borough. The department says the west end of the borough was the hardest hit, with reports of 5 feet of water in some homes. Now, fire crews say emergency responders conducted 16 16 water rescues and fielded over 30 requests due to flooding in homes. Now, the Mount Joy Borough Authority also responded to a sewage backup and had to dislodge manhole covers along the sanitary sewer system. The fire department says response efforts were supported by 10 agencies throughout Lancaster and surrounding counties. Now, this is the second time in just weeks the Mid-State was hit with flooding, especially in this area, just making it really hard on residents here. Borough Emergency Management Coordinator Philip Colvin writing, quote, "The declaration enables us to access additional resources to support residents and accelerate recovery efforts." He adds, as of now, no injuries have been reported. And Allie, I did want to give you a look at the other side of where that baseball field was flooded. As you can see over here, there's parking spots, obviously, that were built up by a rock wall. That flash flooding completely destroyed it. All those rocks are now in the roadway along with debris and wood. Does not look like a parking lot here this morning. I'll send it back to you in the studio. Reporting live here in Mount Joy Borough, Kayla Schmidt, ABC 27 News.
Thank you so much, Kayla. This is video of Route 283 in Mount Joy Township, Lancaster County yesterday, sent in by a viewer. Part of that road was closed because of flooding there. You can see some people did try to force their way through the floodwaters. That flash flooding did bring Route 283 to a standstill in that area. And it was a similar situation on Route 30, where parts of the highway were closed yesterday afternoon due to flash flooding. This was between Mountville and Columbia. This is what things looked like in Chambersburg, Franklin County yesterday afternoon. You can see cars trying to drive through deep water on West Commerce Street. Members of the Franklin County Fire Company were called there for several rescues. They remind everyone, if you don't know how deep the water is, do not drive into it.
And that is so true. I mean, I see those images, and you have to wonder what some of these folks are thinking. Now, I realize I've been in that situation a couple of times, and our brains say to us, oh, I can make it. I can do it. I have somewhere I need to be. I'm gonna just do this. It'll be okay. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. That's a waste of resources. You know, folks that actually need help do not need to have water rescue crews go after you because you thought you could make it through water. If you see water like that, which we just showed you there in Chambersburg, Mount Joy, Route 30, do what a lot of the cars did and just wait. Just wait and try to turn around if you can. It is the safest course of action. I've said it my whole career. We say it till we're blue in the face, and we always see it, and then it's too late. So please, luckily, and no injuries were reported there in Mount Joy, which is a good thing. But man, we just want to try to avoid any issues from flash flooding at all, especially from drivers that should know better and need to turn around. Here is Chambersburg this morning. The sun trying to break through. It's a nice view despite the clouds. There are a lot of low clouds across parts of the region here this morning. We go from Chambersburg across the viewing area to Ephrata. Both spots impacted yesterday by intense rain. In Ephrata, no sunshine there. We are rather socked in. And you might be asking yourself, well, now, why does the satellite show that we are clearing? Well, this is the infrared satellite. And because it's so warm at the surface and because these clouds that are hanging around are very low, the satellite can't distinguish between those cloud tops and the surface. So it sees everything as the same. And that's why it looks like it's clearing. Now, at the upper levels, it is. And that boundary that we had yesterday is pushing out of here. But a lot of low clouds are hanging around. They will eventually burn off and give us what I think will be a sunny afternoon and a much quieter day. We anticipate temperatures are in the 70s. Dew points remain high in the 70s. We're not losing the humidity anytime soon. The almanac showing you we only had a high of 84 yesterday. You may find that hard to believe, but it was so humid. Again, it was hard to tell. The normal high is 87. Look at the rain yesterday, 2.02 inches. That puts our yearly departure on the positive side. We have over a 5-inch surplus. That was a record rainfall yesterday, by the way. 2.02 inches of rain at the airport. 1.84 was the old record set all the way back in 1960. So that record stood for quite a while. Look at the stats in July. By the way, our month-to-date normal, same number. How about that? Isn't that weird? 2.02 inches. That means that we have our monthly normal amount in one day yesterday. That tells you how much rain fell. And again, didn't even come close to what fell in Mount Joy. 7 inches of rain there. Our month-to-date total, 5 inches of rain. Again, that's less than what fell in Mount Joy yesterday. And that's why you should not wonder why there were so many issues. It was a ton of water. and water stops for nothing. So that's what makes it so dangerous. Our year-to-date totals show a 5-inch plus surplus now. I feel like a broken record, right? We were talking about the drought for the first half of the year, and now we're just inundated with rain. The ceilings are low in Willow Hill this morning as we show you our temperature trends, which will be in the upper 80s today. We're not losing the humidity, so you might say, don't the words dry and humid, isn't that kind of an oxymoron? Well, yes and no. I don't mean that it's not going to be humid. It is still going to stay humid here, but the boundary that forced those thunderstorms, that has moved to the south, and we've got high pressure building in. So even though it's going to be humid, I think we stay mainly dry, and you can see that on Precision Cast here. Check it out. There is going to be really far less chance of storms today. I'll still mention one because of the air mass, but I think for the most part we stay dry. Tomorrow evening there could be a few storms in our southern tier, and a few showers Thursday morning may tamper down the threat later in the day. So on average, the next 3 days look drier. Look at the trends here, and you can see what I'm talking about with rainfall totals far less. You know, yesterday's rain did show many areas approaching 3 inches. Obviously, it's hard to forecast 7 inches of rain that they got in Lancaster County, but I do think the next 3 days on the whole look drier. Temperatures today will be in the upper 80s. It's still going to be very humid. You can see what we've got here across the region tonight, a muggy night on the way. And then tomorrow will be also very warm and sticky with temperatures in the 90s again, the low 90s. The extended outlook shows these dew points aren't going anywhere either. Look at that humidity line. We just don't see a break coming. And now it's trying to pinpoint when we think the heaviest rain is going to be. Another surge of moisture tomorrow. There could be some heavy rainers along the southern tier. Thursday and Friday, maybe a storm. Saturday looks like the driest day before more moisture surges in here Sunday, but you'll also notice we don't have any deep drying into next week. So Thursday and Friday could each feature a storm. We're hoping Saturday could be dry, and then looking ahead, Sunday, I think, will be an active day, and the pattern just continues with almost daily chances for storms heading into next week. So check it out, 88 degrees today after the fog burns off. The possibility for a stray storm. Tonight, 74, warm and muggy. And then looking ahead here, the next 7 days, again, stuck in the muck. I think Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday will all be the best days to see a few of these thunderstorms. Let me take you through real quickly now as we look at our model runs here. I want to show you the HER later today to just prove the point that I do think today will be mainly dry. And we can kind of see what we're talking about here. That's good news. Now let's flip over and show you temperatures here. Total precipitation. That's what I want to show you as we move into the course of the end of the week. Far less. Only a ½ inch at most, which is good news. But if we look at the pattern through the end of the month, it also looks like more rain is coming. And so that is why we can't hold our breath too long. Well, that is a look at the forecast for now, everybody. I wanted to update you and take you through the flooding that occurred yesterday. Far better today and drier. Thanks so much for watching this edition of Beyond the Forecast.